All right, welcome back to mtgjanktag.com. I have a best of one list for us today that I've been working on a lot, and we've been going up and down and back and forth on all sorts of builds. So this is the most recent, the version you'll see today in the gameplay is the most recent version that I've been trying out. But shoot, I just lost it. The original version that we've been messing with on stream, in our first stream we went 9-2. Second one we went 8-5, and then with the version tonight we went 11-6. That puts us right around a 70-ish% win rate. Because that's gonna be 28-13 ish. In games, plus a couple other versions that we played a couple games with, but I'm kind of lumping those all together. So, I guess let's talk about sort of the original version, and we're gonna actually work our way through. So, this was the first version, or at least one of the first versions that we played. And if you're not familiar with Gyruda combo, it's rather simple. Gyruda is a 6-mana 6/6 companion. When it enters, each player mills 4 cards. You get a creature from among them that has an even mana cost, and you put it on the battlefield under your control. Now, normally, you would play this as your companion. The old decks that played this just played Ramp Spell, Sylvan Caryatid, Paradise Druid that were 2 mana. You cast Gyruda, and you go off from there. But in our case, we want to speed that up. So we're playing this with Subtlety. So all 4 of our Gyrudas are in the main deck. And Subtlety is some new hotness in Historic and Timeless, I guess. It's a sorcery for 3 blue. It says draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards, blue creature cards in your hand, perpetually gain, evoke, exile blue card from your hand. Which means if we have Gyruda and we cast Aquatic Subtlety, we can then cast Gyruda for free by exiling a blue card. Now, as for the combo itself, once you do that, you are playing a bunch of clones. So that includes Phantasmal Image, that includes Phyrexian Metamorph, Spark Double, and Clever Impersonator. The most notable one in this version is Spark Double. That says, enters as a copy of a creature or planeswalker control. It gets a +1/+1 counter, but most notably, if it's legendary, it is no longer legendary. Which means once you copy the original Gyruda, you have 2 Gyrudas, and then all your additional copies, because every time we copy, we mill 4, we get to place an even card onto the field that will copy the Gyruda, which repeats the chain until you make a bajillion clones of Gyruda, and then you land, in our case, into Dragonlord Kolagon. Spark Double is the most important because it makes our Gyruda non-legendary, which means we can continually copying the Spark Double copy, which means all of our next Gyrudas that we make are no longer legendary, which means that you can just build a giant board of 6/6s, and then Dragonlord Kolagon is a 6-mana card you can hit off Gyruda. You swing with all of your demons because they all have haste. So that was a little bit of a roundabout way, is we're just making a bunch of copies of Gyruda and chaining them into each other. Now this first version, I was real high because I also figured out you could play Goblin Charbelcher and Grindstone combo in the sideboard, because we could play an entire MDFC mana base, which is kind of funny, so that Charbelcher and those decks still work. You can also Grindstone yourself, because you would side out the Dragonlord Kolagons, and then suddenly everything in your deck is blue, and then you win with Laboratory Maniac. But as we tested, we found out that that was a little too gimmicky. Playing these lands was kind of slow. We played like Harbinger and Force Negation as some interaction, and Ponder. But it was just kind of tough. Even with like best of one Shuffler, which is where we originally tested, it was hard to get these 2 cards together, and I wanted some better ways to find them. So we scrapped that version. We play tested a bunch, and eventually we got to this, where we started playing Demonic Council, which tutors for Gyruda. It's basically a demonic tutor for our demon. And felt a little better, but I'm like, I wanted more. This is also where we got Kavero, because you could evoke Gyruda, and then if you also had Kavero in your hand while you subtletied, this could also be evoked for free. So even if your first Gyruda whiffed, you could then copy it from the graveyard and try again. And this got a little better. It was pretty sweet. And then while we were sitting down one day, I realized we have assembled the team. We have steaming symmetry. So what if we just get rid of the low end of the curve and we just try and be consistent as possible and sort of go all in on our combo variation, which led me into this sort of suite of spells. Still playing around 22 lands or so. We upped the Caveros because it was sweet. That deck did pretty well. And then finally, we evolved into this after some testing because I realized we had Arden. 8 mana, demons you control have Menace, Lifelink, and Haste, which is just better than Kolaghan. Because now suddenly they can't be blocked as well. They all have Haste still, but now they all have Lifelink as well. But the cool part about him is he also, if you whiff and just mill an Arden, he automatically returns the Gyruda you whiffed off of to the field to restart the chain by himself. So it's kind of like another Cavero in a sense where if we fizzle and our Gyruda gets sacrificed after the evoke without actually going off, we can go again. We also found out we had Sakashima, which also gets rid of the legend rule. Doesn't apply to permanents you control, which acts as like another spark double, which means we can build an army of Gyruda faster. We don't have to just kind of spin until we hit a spark double. We have 7 copies of this now. I kept the Steaming Symmetry Assemble the Team plan, and then I actually ended up shaving a few lands. We're down to just 20, including the specimens. And then I put in 4 Resto Angel because you can blink whatever you evoke to restart the chain as well. Hydroelectric Specimen is in here because if you Subtlety, you can actually evoke this for free. And it acts as basically a counter spell because we're just like, if our opponent decides to, you know, kill our Gyruda in the middle of combo, we can just flash this in and redirect the spell. So this is what we played this evening. This is what you'll see the games from. And my main sort of gripe here is, one, Steaming Symmetry is not good. Like, it is good for what we're doing, but it feels bad. Like, in that last game, you'll see me go up against, like, is it Control or Grixis Control or something? And, like, they counter our original Gyruda, I top deck a Symmetry or a Subtlety or something. I go get another Subtlety, but then they just go get another counter spell. And, you know, it just kind of sucks for us. So, Assemble the Team is the better tutor, but I went with these 8 because they find either half of our combo. They find both Subtlety and Gyruda, and it's kind of like the best you have until they print something better. I did enjoy going up to 28 total cards that continue the chain. We kept the Reflecting Pool mana base so that we can cast like Assemble and Aquatic Subtlety sort of on target there, but overall, the deck's strong. Like, you can go off turn 3 pretty consistently, but you also whiff a lot. So, like, you could go off, but then you'll fizzle, which is the main problem. And even upping all these clone effects hasn't really fixed that. Even the best of 1 shuffler hasn't really been my friend, and we'll get hands where, like, you only have 2 mana, you just never draw the 3rd. You're basically as fast as anything else besides, like, Life and Death Reanimator. You'll see me, like, I think our win rate against Boros Auras is, like, 90-something% because they can't do anything if we go off on turn 3. Any other, like, Elves were super high up there. I'm looking at my Untapped here. Against Wizards, we're at 77%. Eldrazi, we went 8 and 6, 60%. Against Black White Life Game, we're 70%. We have 100% against 4-color, 75% against Jeskai. So you can just, like, go off. But it just loses to itself. And I don't know how to make that more consistent at my current brain power. So I'll probably keep this on the back burner for a little bit. But this is the list we are playing, and that's kind of how it works. It is important to note that we can go off through Grave Hate, like Leyline and Rest in Peace, because Gyruda only looks at the 4 cards you milled. It doesn't pull from the graveyard. So there's a couple times where we've gone off and our opponent like jams Rest in Peace on 2, or like, you know, because they're tech for best of 1, they're playing main deck Leyline or like a Soul Guide Lantern or something, and we still combo them out. And then other sort of noteworthy thing is you don't have to attack There's been plenty of games where we just chain enough Gyrudas, since this mills 4 for each player, that you just mill your opponent out and then pass back and they draw from an empty library. So, pretty hot deck. It's a really sweet interaction and a cool way to use subtlety that's different than all the Atraxa builds running around right now. Albeit, this is quite an expensive deck. Everything's basically a rare, mythic rare, besides assemble the team. But that's okay. But, yeah. I mean, games are rather straightforward. You're just trying to do the same thing every time, and you win some, you lose some. But let's get into some games and see how we do. We just, like, lose to our own deck. So, in this case, we have combo off of double tutors. So we're going to try our best, but... do you guys see that Umezawa's Jit is pre-banned in, Jitte is pre-banned in Historic? From Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, even though it's already in Historic and not banned. Ooh, Amadia. Alright. But, I don't know. I don't think best of one is very skill intensive. What am I getting here, chat? Oh, Aquatic subtlety. I think it's relatively easy to just pick up a deck and jam it in best of one to mythic. Now, brewing in best of one, that's where it gets crazy. Because then you got a fucker like me playing Gyruda combo. Alright, let's see if we whiff. That's the main thing we're kind of testing tonight. I think we're actually going to... He didn't keep up any mana. Let's see if we lose to ourselves. That's the main problem. So here you see Resto Angel in play. And in this case, we can actually start copying Resto Angels. And opponent concedes. So we were doing pretty well there. We had second Gyruda. I don't think he would have been able to kill us the following turn. So if we find a blue source, we can evoke the second Gyruda and chain again. It's just like gross. Like we just whiff to ourselves. And even though we shave down lands, well, sometimes it's still tough to shave down lands. Like, we're going to give our opponent whatever he wants here. What do we want? Aquatic subtlety? But, like, well, we'll see what it reanimates. If he just persists back a breaker, I don't know. We can, like, Phantasmal Image and Arden. But then, also, every once in a while, you run into other decks still playing Life and Death Reanimator. And then, like, we get shit on. Because he gets to attack with Annihilator too. You know? And then we run into the other stupid Reanimator decks like us. And it's basically just whoever goes first. Alright. We'll try this one out. Again, 2 lands. We have a Symmetry to go find our Subtlety. We'll throw back the Resto Angel. We'll fire this off right away. But I have noticed that with this list, like, the best of one shuffler does not want to ever give me my third land ever. Like, even before, we were playing, what, 22 lands? 23 in the original version? And I would get stuck on 2 lands all the time. Even though we're only trying to get to 3 mana. Waste not. I need a land. That's not a land. See, and then we're gonna whiff to ourselves. Do I need to be playing 21 lands? I don't know. We're gonna get like Thought Seized. Okay, he takes our Aquatic Subtlety. Problem is we just lose to ourselves the most. We can copy a zombie. But I don't know how else to like, I don't know how else to make this more consistent. Unless I switch like, I don't even know, chat. I don't even know, chat. Then I was trying to think if we could like build a version with Formidable Speaker and Reanimator, or like we just play Mana Dorks. But I think Aquatic Subtleties, like you could just build regular old Gyruda combo with even mana costs and have access to Gyruda. But I think Aquatic Subtleties is too good to pass up. Because it lets you, like, most of the time when you Subtlety, you have multiple ways to chain Gyruda again. So, like, you can actually continue going off the turn you go for it. But, I don't know. It might just not be this next time. The original versions were... I mean, our win rate's pretty good still. We're at, like, 70-something, 60-something. 68? But, like, Steaming Symmetry is so bad, too. Steaming Symmetry feels horrible to play. If we're being honest. Like, Assemble the Team's the best. If we just had another 2-mana tutor, it'd be much better. Ugh, gross. Because then we get Subtlety. We found a guy who's playing Orcish Bowmaster in best of 1, which is crazy. But, like, we just lose to ourselves. Because we didn't draw our 3rd land. You know what I mean? I don't know how to fix that, chat. Alright, let's concede. Like, then you get hands like these. You're like, what the fuck's going on? And it's just... Okay, well, we happen to figure out the mana. Sick. Problem is he's playing Authority of the Consuls, which is obviously bad for us. If he's just like a normal life gain deck, we'll kill him on the final swing. But if he's like... Watch him be like some sort of land destruction. Oh, that was a good draw. So, like, he'll gain a shit ton of life. But, well, I guess we can just go for the mill kill. Or try to. We'll see what opponent's playing. We'll find Resto. Watch him also be playing Gaia's Blessing. Are we just going for a mill here? Probably. If we can. Find a Sakashima. We got a wonky ass hand too. Okay, so in this case, we'll grab Cavero. We'll copy. It doesn't really matter what we copy. Opponent has 18 cards left. Can we finish him? We're gonna try. 9. Spark Double. Another Arden. He has 10 cards left, so we need 3 triggers. Do we have another clone left? We do. That's another 4. And then we hit an image. And then we mill him out. And then we'll just take whatever we want from his library. It doesn't matter. And then he dies. Cool. So we'll keep it. Opponent's on dragons. So we'll see how fast we can go. But in this case, like, we also have we have Cavero, so if first we whiff on the first one, we should be able to just Cavero Gyruda immediately. So we'll grab Gyruda first. He is already at 4 mana. Really cranking it, boys. Oh, never didn't have it, fellas. All right, so turn 3. Let's see if we can go off. We'll discard a land. This is kind of awkward because we didn't draw into more blue cards. So if we don't go off now, we'll have to Cavero the following turn, and then we whiff. I'll take this Hellkite though. Interesting. I forgot we even had Steel Hellkite. See, but like that's prime example, right? We just lose to ourselves. What does the pump ability do? Nothing crazy. Plays Mach Jasper. And then he gets to draft. Very nice. But yeah, just a chill stream. Get back into it. We'll be back on Thursday for a regular stream. We should be. Okay, so in this case, we'll assemble. Doesn't really matter what we get. Preferably something not that important, like Specimen. And then we'll Cavero, evoke, and we'll see if we can chain off this turn. There we go. Find a Spark Double. We find a Resto Angel. Alright. So, even if we don't combo all the way through, we should have enough to present lethal on the following turn. We'll just try and keep chaining. I guess we could have grabbed Art in there. We tried to chain again, but we'll grab second Art in here. That gives everything haste, menace, and lifelink. We can present something else. So we whiffed on 3, but then we win on 4. I guess you could also just try to make this all mill. Like, you could cut Arden completely and just say your only goal in life is to mill your opponent out. But then you're going to run into random decks playing. We got 2 lands, assemble the team, neither half of the combo, so we're going to maul. 1 land, half of the combo, we're going to maul. Both half of the combo in hand. We're going to see if we can get there. Opponent, no Thoughtseize, please. I hope they're just like Boros. Okay. We also have to hit another blue card off of Subtlety. Swift Spear is fine. Hopefully it's just Wizards. And we don't whiff. But you know me. I guess even if we can spin into an Arden. Jesus, chat. Actually, let's get rid of 1. Of course we don't find the second blue star. We are just... The inconsistency hurts, boys. It hurts so bad. My own decks just hate me. Like, what are the chances we would get a blue off the top? Watch this. Oh, okay, we got there, Chad. It worked out for us. But watch, maybe we'll whiff. Actually, I think we're gonna take Arden here. Just because it's better to give my guy haste. What's what? Let's bounce this one. Find a second Arden. Nice. Who said Wizard is a good deck? Not us. But we'll try it. But it feels weird to just tutor for lands. Poland's also on Luris. I think we're just gonna grab a Mana Confluence. Hopefully they're just Boros and we can combo off on 3 without any hesitation. Yeah, people are just doing early deck building. Okay, they are just auras, which is good for us. We can just grab a Reflecting Pool. Oh, it's tomorrow? Let me click on this guy. Oh, yeah, he's not actually building. He's theory crafting. All right, chat. Let's try our best. Let's see if we can go off here. It's gonna feel bad if we can't. Ooh, Arden? Gross. I kind of want to keep our lands. Let's see if we whiff. Find a resto. Good start. What you got for me? Sakashima, also a good start. All right, we're doing pretty good here. Let's get our other Arden. And then keep our combo going. Find Tavero. Our creatures also have Menace, so we can't block. And then we can also go for a full mill out here if we'd like. Maybe not. Swing, kill our opponent. Perfect. Beautiful. 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 Bad. Arden plus 2 lands, which is bad. Double subtlety, 2 lands. Jesus, our deck just hates our guts. What am I getting rid of? We have to draw a land, chat. We're on a mull to 4. We have a few turns to do it. But he just added Historic, Timeless, and Pioneer, I think. Which is super cool. I think these are just placeholders for right now. Okay, we find the reflecting pool. Opponent's on Mistrise Village, which makes me feel like we're going to get counterspelled really hard. But yeah, this meta conflict thing's super sick. We find second Gyruda. So let's see what we can do with subtlety. Let's see if we get counterspelled. I feel like that's what's happening. Make disappear. Ooh, chat, it's not even a normal counterspell. Oh god. Little Grixis control here. Shout out to this guy. Crucius. Oh shit, chat. This guy's a gamer. See, Steaming Symmetry feels so bad. Because we go get Subtlety and he goes gets Counterspell. Chat, we cannot play Steaming Symmetry. It feels so bad, chat. I do have to put this on Jank Tank. Rust. Oh. Chat, he tapped out. Do you think he has Spell Pierce, chat? Oh, no, he gets to make a treasure, right? Yeah, he does. Oh, but does Seek shuffle that out? Can I do this, or does he have the spell? Or no, he drew it, right? Oh, yeah, the Spell Pierce. Okay. Yeah, counter spells aren't our friend either. We're gonna concede. Alright, so this is the fourth... No, I'm sorry. This is the fifth version of this shell that we've tried. Across our original... So our original few versions went like a 78% win rate. We went like 27 in something. And now my untap's not loading. Of course it's not. But obviously I feel like that's gone down as we keep climbing up Mythic. We started facing more and more number of people. So I actually think our MMR is pretty high this season, which is hot. The version we just played... Okay, yeah, it's all over the place when I try these. So the version we just played went 11-6. Which isn't... That's not bad. That's 65% win rate. So we're climbing pretty quick. We win every 2 out of 3 games. The previous version I tried with... is this the one where I played Devour? I tried Devour as a way to, like... I don't even know what I was trying to do. It just helps dig 4 cards deep and line up your draws a little better. And that... We went 24-19, which is only a 56% win rate. Version 3, we had 62%. And then the first couple versions, 82 and 85% win rates, which were like real early when we were messing around. So we kind of dipped, but I think that's mainly just about deck, not necessarily the game plan, but just construction. We'll probably freeze in terms of me working on this final version, where we added Resto Angel, and then we just went back to the 8 tutor effects, trimmed a few lands so that we could go up on spells that chain off of Gyruda. But overall, like you saw, and I kept saying over and over, is we just kind of lose to ourselves. Even with the best of 1 shuffler assistance, like there's a lot of hands where we only get 2 lands, or there's a lot of things where we go off on turn 3 and then we whiff on a Gyruda spin. I mentioned earlier, but like we have Gyruda even hits itself, and you can get it off an Arden, and if you evoke a Gyruda, you can Cavero the original one back and stuff. So like you have all of these hits, which is 31 creatures minus the Hydra specimens. So we're playing 28 creatures that continue the chain, which is a little higher than 90%, I think, last time I did the math, or right around, somewhere around there. So I don't know, dude. I think it's just such a big package, especially when we have to fit in these these tutors, because we're playing Aquatic Subtlety. We're like, that's the whole point of the deck though, right? like, we could go back to even mana costs and play Gyruda as the companion, so we always have access to it. And then, you know, we could cut the symmetry, play some ramp, some sapphire medallions, some talismans or something. But I think you're just going to be slow, right? I feel like I'd rather just have the ability to wombo on turn 3 every time. But at its current state, it just whiffs. And I can't necessarily fix that at the moment. Maybe in the future, we'll get some better tutors. Assemble the team's fine, but Steaming Symmetry just feels really bad because your opponent gets their card before you. So like you saw in that last match where, you know, we Symmetry, we can go find our second combo piece, but, you know, they pick up a counter spell, or Thoughtseize doesn't really work because we didn't draw our card yet, but you get what I mean. So, I don't know where to go from here. I guess you could, like, maybe go back to, like, a blue-black mana base and turn these into just, like, card draw. Like, we could play Otherworldly Gaze and, like, consult the star charts or something and just try and dig manually. But I don't think going into, like, a Life and Death, Faithless Looting, Graveyard-based Shell is really going to do anything for the list. It's basically just a different flavor of the same thing. Like, sure, you can go off a turn earlier, but you're still devoting, you know, 28 slots to a combo, which doesn't leave you with a whole lot. And then, like, you want to play Looting, Life and Death, plus 4 other cards. You're not really doing much. So, that's sweet. Our win rate between all the... I would have to calculate that. 65, 56. That one brought us down a lot. 82, 83, 66. I have a really early version with 100% win rate, but that's because we only played it once. So we're probably sitting in high 60s-ish in terms of win rate, which is pretty hot for a random brew, but that's all I got to say. We'll come back to it in the future if we get better tutors and stuff. But Aquatic Subtlety, this is just such a sweet card that enables a lot of new stuff. The Atraxa build's really fun. We got to play it with Gyruda, which is really fun. So I'm excited to see where this, what kind of deck this card sparks in the future as we keep getting new cards. Like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles! I feel like we just got finished with Lauren, but we're already moving on. Anyways, thank you for watching. That's my 2 cents on this deck list. Pretty fun. Check it out, and I'll catch you in the next one.